Good morning. We are continuing, wrapping up a discussion of sola fide and focusing here on justification by faith alone, sola fide. And I want to pick up in verse 25 and read verse 25 and 26 for you. Whom God put forward as a propitiation, that is, the Father put forward the Son. We talked about this on Saturday. As a propitiation, a sacrifice of atonement to appease the wrath of God the Father by his blood, to be received by faith. This was to show God's righteousness. So there's a demonstration of the just and righteous character of God, because in his divine forbearance he passed over former sins. That is, there wasn't an ultimate rectification of those past sins. Of course, there were sacrifices, but the author of Hebrews points out that the sacrifices were repeated again and again. Jesus comes as the great high priest, giving the great singular sacrifice for all time, past, present, and future. It was to show his righteousness at the present time, and here's the wording of the ESV, so that he might be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. It shows just and justifier in what's called a coordinating relationship. I think it might be better for us to see it in what's called a concessive relationship. It would read like this. It was to show his righteousness at the present time so that he might be just, even in justifying the one who has faith in Jesus. It's pointing out that his justice is brought to bear in this act of propitiation. That even in this act, the justice of God is being satisfied. And the one who has faith in Christ, rather than working and laboring, his faith brings to bear this propitiatory atonement that has been afforded in Christ. So God's justice, right, is demonstrated, but I want you to see particularly that the doctrine of justification by faith itself demonstrates the justice of God. And that's the point of the end of verse 26, that he might be just even in justifying the one who has faith in Jesus. It's not unjust for him to do this. Instead, in this very act, it's not an acquittal. In this very act, his justice is put on display. So, understand, not one aspect of the character of God is compromised in a doctrine like sola fide. Instead, the beautiful sacrifice of Christ highlights the justice of God because the wrath of God is poured out on the Son. He is just even in justifying you by this act and by that appropriation of faith. May the Lord bless you.